Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Have I got a special video for you today? Unboxing two very special RTX 2080 graphics cards, including a beast, the AORUS Extreme 240mm fully custom RGB liquid-cooled. Wow, that thing is crazy. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my channel, you may have already seen an RTX 2080 unboxing video. I unboxed several cards back at launch. This is a follow-up to that video, but this time I have an overhead camera where you're going to see far more detail than you did last time. And then just like my recent RTX 2060 videos, which one should you buy? These two cards, along with all the originals, will be tested, benchmarked, overclocked. You'll get fan noises, and hopefully I can record some audio of the noise this time. Several people asked if I could do that. I'm going to try. My benchmark setup room downstairs is still fairly new, but we'll see what we can do. Now, if you look directly in front of me, you will see that I've got a Gigabyte 3-fan RTX 2080. Looks very similar to the RTX 2060 that I covered in the which one should you buy, but it is not. This cooler is thicker than the 2060, so even though it's got 3 fans and even though it looks the same, it is not. It also has 4 heat pipes, whereas the RTX 2060 version only had 2. So even when the coolers look the same between different generations of cards or different levels of cards, they often are actually very different coolers. So likewise, while the ASUS ROG Strix in the 2060 was the coolest running, it wasn't the quietest, but that's a completely different cooler to this beast. So I'll be doing all fresh new tests on this, comparing it to all of those cards. 7 RTX 2080s compared, coming very soon. But that's not what this video is all about. This video is about giving you an up-close and personal look with the overhead camera into these two cards. Now, many of you like the ASUS ROG Strix brand. It's very, very popular. I understand that. And it's not too much more expensive than the other cards right now. On the day I'm filming this video, and yes, links will be down in the video description below, this card is only about $50 more than the factory overclock cards from Gigabyte and some of the other manufacturers. This particular one is $750 as I film this video. There is one for $699, but it's not factory overclocked, and based upon the pictures, I'm not convinced it's the same cooler. That's something I'd like to test, but I can't afford to get every RTX 2080 on the market, so it is what it is. But this is the $750 version. This is just under $800, so it's about $50 more expensive, but it is bigger. I'll show them. So I brought it out here so you could see a comparison. For $100 more than that, $900, is it worth $900 for a custom full coverage 240mm cooled RTX 2080? I have no idea. That's why we test these things. That's why we do these videos. Full disclosure, none of this was provided to me by these companies. These are products that I, bought myself. Please consider supporting the channel. There's a variety of ways to do so down in the video description below. It lets me stay independent and make these videos for you without being sent this stuff from the manufacturers. You can support me by using the Amazon and Newegg links down there when shopping for whatever it is you want to buy, these or anything else. Those are affiliate links. They support the channel at no extra cost to you. There's also several other ways to support down there, but that's for another time. For now, let's get to unboxing. First up, we have the ASUS ROG Strix Overclocked Edition. Do keep in mind, there are 3 different versions of this card: a stock, an A card, which is kind of in the middle, and then the O card, which is the overclocked version. Ironically, when I filmed this video, this was the least expensive of the 3. Go figure, but prices change all the time. This box is heavy. Not as heavy as that, but it is in fact heavy. And I will set it next to the Gigabyte when we get it out of the box, so you have a size comparison. When I did that original video, we didn't have any of this filming studio set up, which is why you didn't have it. But I thought, you know, these two cards are cool enough. We're going to go ahead and do a dedicated unboxing for them, talk about the plans for these. By the time you watch this video, I might have actually already benchmarked these, and because this is going to be my next project, is benchmarking these. A lot of people have been asking, when's that coming? Very soon. As soon as I finish this. Taking it out of the box. ASUS products usually have some very nice packaging. Oh, there we go. There's the Strix logo right there. We'll set that aside. Opening it up, and if we can open it properly, there we go. Well, what do you know? We have what's in the same package of every other video card. We have form-fitting foam. And, oh, this is kind of thick. All right. You can see that is what's in here. Driver CD, maybe? Or, yep, ASUS ROG Strix gaming graphics card. We have ourselves a nice coaster. It's actually not a CD, it's a DVD, believe it or not. And then speed setup with a very nicely printed manual. I don't know how many people are going to use these things, but I will say the quality is, in fact, a step up over what comes in most of these boxes. It should be for a little bit more money. Taking the foam off, and it's a video card in a box. I know, I know. What's down here? Anything? Nothing? Oh, usually they put Velcro straps in there. Pull this out. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, that is definitely a video card. Here, let me get the box out of the way. It's a cardboard box with foam. What do you want? And where do we open it? Oh, like most ASUS products, they open on the bottom. So we'll take that off. See if we can open that. She's a beauty, all right. The fan configuration, I can already tell you, is definitely different than the RTX 2060 ASUS ROG Strix. The fan design is different. These actually float. That's interesting. I don't know. Here, I'll set it down. Can you see these? And they have rings around them, which the 2060 did not. It is also, that is a whole lot thicker than the, yes, you can make your thick jokes. That is a whole lot thicker than the RTX 2060 ASUS ROG Strix card was. Two 8-pin PCI Express power connectors. I am pleased to report that they are recessed. You can see here there's a cutout in the printed circuit board, so if you have any Z-depth, any height issues, then you can put in L-shaped cables or curved cables. In fact, they can go right around the side here using a cable link. You've got, yep, you could absolutely do that. That's very nice. What do you know? We have plastic to peel. Some of you love the plastic peeling, some of you don't. It doesn't take that long. So for those of you who do, we will take this off in one nice piece. She came off nice and easy, didn't she? I will fold that up gently, toss that over there. Sweet, it's got a card edge connector here for the golden fingers. And on the end of the card, we have the VR link, the USB Type-C port here, which is nice. Some of the cards are actually emitting this now, so if you do have a VR setup, that is nice to see. And then we also have, and ASUS is famous for this, this was the same way on the RTX 2060, there are two HDMI 2.0 ports allowing, put those over there, allowing you to connect a head-mounted display, a VR set, an Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, that sort of thing, and then also connect your monitor or high-definition television. Perhaps you got a nice 4K television that you want to hook this up to for a nice living room VR experience. No adapters, no connectors, no muss, no fuss. That's very nice. And then two display ports over here for 4K are actually beyond. And it's painted black as well, so it does provide a nice experience. And then you've got the NV-Link connector up top. There is also an LED on-off switch here, which is nice. You can, of course, use the ASUS AORUS software to control the RGB lighting if you want. Sync it up with your motherboard, sync it up with your RAM, sync it up with your RGB controller. But there is, in fact, a light switch there, which is really, really nice. There's a cool graphic pattern on the back. I mentioned this in the RTX 2060 unboxing video. Yes, the 2060 is RGB on the back right here, and of course this will be as well. So you do have some nice RGB on the back plate. The 10 series, the 1060 didn't have RGB back there, but the 2060 does. And again, I mentioned this in the 2060, that ASUS might be the only company who does it. If you know of any other company anywhere in the world who does this, please let me know in the comments below. There are two 4-pin PWM fan headers in the side of the card right here, and there is a 4-pin RGB header right here. If you have an RGB fan or controller for the front of your case, you can plug it in here. And if you have perhaps 2 large intake fans in your case, you may not need large amounts of airflow when you're just at Windows browsing the web. Your computer's fine. It's plenty cool. You got a nice mid-tower or full-tower case, and you don't want those fans turning when you're not gaming. Fine. Plug those fans directly into your video card, not your motherboard, and when you're gaming and the graphics card is turning and producing lots of heat, it will then turn up your front fans and kick up that airflow to get airflow into your system. As far as I know, ASUS is the only company that does that. This thing is heavy as heck. That is, and we've got, just like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heat pipes, and they go all the way down. In fact, I can see them curving under there. That is very nice. Now, okay, I've talked about this wonderful card enough. Let me take the Gigabyte. This Gigabyte card, I'm going to put them side by side right here in the middle of the G. The Gigabyte card is $50 less, at least when I filmed this video. Just looking at these side by side, you can see that the ASUS is taller, vertically taller than the Gigabyte. In fact, if I bring it, there we go. That's almost a full inch taller. It's thicker as well. I will turn the cards up this way, and then you can see the relative thickness. Now the Gigabyte card, which does actually have a little bit of RGB right here, none on the back, but it does have some RGB. It has an 8-pin and a 6-pin PCI Express power connector, and it's not quite flush with the PCI Express slot, but it's way more flush than the ROG Strix. To be blunt, if you've got $750+ for a video card and you've got a nice mid-tower or full-tower case, something with enough width, height, length, and breadth and everything else for an epic gaming experience, I do have to test them. There will be testing, don't worry. When I did the RTX 2060, I said just buy the Gigabyte card. It's smaller and lighter, and it ran cool enough and quiet enough. I didn't think the ROG Strix was worth the money. I stand by that argument. It's nice, but based upon my experience of testing them, I don't think it was worth the money. My opinion's a bit different here, subject to change, but if you got this kind of money, go for it. Go all out. It's, what, $40 more expensive, which is the same price differential at the cheaper level, but once you're at $750, what's another $40? I don't know. So we'll look this way, and then you can also see the difference in terms of the black paint and also the connectors. USB Type-C here as well, but we've only got one HDMI port if that matters to you. And then I will turn them both here on their backs, and you can see what they look like in this direction. I'm sure both will be lovely and provide great gaming performance. To be clear, I don't expect the ROG Strix to be faster. It might overclock 50 or 100 megahertz higher, probably not. The 1060s didn't. It's a pretty big cooler. Do it because it's amazing and sexy and awesome and huge and RGB, and because your motherboard's a ROG Strix and you want it to match. Now, that's the ROG Strix. I'm gonna move all this out of the way. Let's take a look at this AORUS Extreme liquid-cooled card. Holy smokes. We'll be right back. And we're back. Now, I have used liquid-cooled video cards in the past. In fact, my very first liquid-cooled video card was an AMD R9 295X2. Yeah, one of those old things. They were expensive. They even came in a fancy metal case. Those actually had a blower cooler directly on the card, and then they actually had the hoses out with the separate 120 millimeter liquid cooler on it. The blower still cooled the VRMs, I think, and the memory modules. The liquid cooler just cooled the chips themselves. There have been a variety of other cards that I've used over the years. The most recent was a Vega 64 liquid cooled, which is nice because the clock speed is higher and it's a full coverage card, so there's no blower fan on it. But it was still a very hot running card and still not an ideal solution, especially considering for how hot that is, it only had a 120 millimeter radiator on it. Not this time. This is the first ever 240 millimeter liquid cooled graphics card I personally have ever used. And when I saw this, and when I realized that it was only $100 more expensive than the standard air-cooled premium cards like the ASUS ROG Strix, I thought, you know, it's time for me to gain some experience and try something new. Is it worth it. Is an extreme card like this with this much cooling power worth it? Considering that a 240mm liquid cooler, especially an RGB one like this, can easily cost you $100, it really isn't more expensive, now is it? Unboxing this is going to be interesting because this is much, much bigger than that box. I notice right here it says 4-year warranty. That's nice to know. By the time 4 years is up, it's kind of obsolete anyway. And we will bring this up and open her up. Well, what do you know? It's some form-fitting, it's kind of almost in my way where I'm standing. We have form-fitting foam. What do you know? We have the AORUS envelope. Anybody want to place a drum roll bet on whether this has a driver's CD in it? Ooh, this is nice. What's in here? AORUS Care. Okay, this is much nicer than Gigabyte puts into most of their products. This is really nice. Register online to extend product warranty to 4 years for free. Wait a minute, you have to register? It said 4-year warranty on the box. Well, okay, maybe if you want to be extra special sure, you should probably register the card. Water Force Quick Force Guide. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, it looks pretty straightforward. Fan replacement. Good to know that they support fan replacement. They got the power connectors. Here, I'll turn this around. Power connectors, RGB connectors, and how to screw it into the case. We have a driver CD/coaster. What else do we have in here? Oh, we have the configuration. 7 video outputs. Really? 3 HDMI, 3 DisplayPort. Gotcha. So you cannot use all of them at the same time. AORUS provides a total of 7 video outputs compared to the reference card 5 video outputs. An additional 2 HDMI ports allow consumers to have greater flexibility when connecting to the display. You can choose 3x HDMI plus 1 DisplayPort plus 1 USB Type-C, or 3 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, 1 USB Type-C for your monitors without any adapters. Now that's interesting. So you could plug in triple DisplayPort monitors plus an HDMI head-mounted display plus the USB-C connector, or you could plug in 3 separate HDMI devices and a DisplayPort device and use. That's pretty nice. If you have to connect a lot of stuff, then that might be worth the extra price alone. That's pretty cool. What is this? Graphics card guide. Standard stuff, but premium. And let's stick that over there. Now it's time to get to the coup de grace. Well, that is a package and a half. That's a 240mm liquid cooler. Taking the video card out, not too heavy, but it makes sense because all the cooling's on the radiator. What do we have here? Braided hoses. I'm very happy to report that we've got braided hoses. They're not just loose, so these they're ribbed. They'll provide some protection. I've seen better braided hoses, but I've seen worse. I would call these middle of the road braided hoses. And let's take the radiator out. One of the things I want to look at on the radiator, I'm going to set this aside for just a minute, is fin density. Something that I've discovered recently in my various liquid cooling tests, not all 240mm liquid coolers are created equal. Some are really nice, and some are not. In fact, some are really not very good at all. Some of the new budget ones. And this that's fairly dense. Let me turn it this way and let the camera catch it. There are, unfortunately, 2 dents already in it. You can see that it's not going to make a big difference, but there's a dent in the radiator fins right here, and there's a dent in the radiator fins right here. That's kind of disappointing to see. The liquid runs in between. It doesn't run through these little teeny fins. That's not going to affect the, that's not going to leak or anything, but that's kind of a bummer. You can see here the screw holes where it would screw into the case. So basically you put this into your case, and there are screws right here with washers, and you'll put it wherever you can put a 240mm cooler, and you'll simply screw it in the case. So installation should in fact be fairly straightforward and easy. And just by looking at these, you can tell that they're RGB fans. These are sort of that clear material that will show through the RGB. And the fan hub and the full fan blades are clear, so the entire thing should light up. Looking here, I'll turn it this way, you can see the whole pack of RGB. It's all tied off and zip tied. That's very nice. But if you need to replace the fans, you certainly can. I'm going to set this aside. We'll be right back in a second. And with the big box out of the way, now we can take this and undo it and show you the card itself. It's definitely different. One of the markets for this, besides people who just want to overclock to the max or have a cool running card, first of all, if you have a small computer, if you don't have a lot of room inside your case, a fairly compact case, but you do have room for a 240mm radiator, this removes one of the biggest problems of putting a high-powered graphics card into a small case, because the heat can be expelled directly out of the case using the radiator rather than dumped in it. The other option is for people who don't want a boring graphics card. They want a cool graphics card. They want Christmas on their desk. Perhaps you have a 240mm liquid-cooled radiator for your CPU, maybe a 280, maybe a 360, and you want dual liquid-cooled, you don't want any fans inside your case. This is certainly an option. Ooh, in all my moving around, one of the cables, something to keep in mind during installation, one of these cables has already come disconnected, and it looks like it will just go back in. Well, that's very tight. When you install it, you're going to need to make sure that the cables are in. With all that being said, oh yeah, that. Holy. If you want something different, if you want something special, especially if you have a case with a vertical mount for the graphics card where you can actually see this, that's different. If you want to be different, if you want something, if an extra $100 means you get to have something cool that you can take pictures of, you can show it off, you can post it. If you're already spending $3,000 on your computer anyway and going all the best, an extra $100 isn't going to break the bank. If you're building a budget machine, then, well, none of this video applies to you. But again, you know, $2,500, $3,000, it's not too much. And that is Team Up, Fight On. This, I believe, all lights up with RGB. I will have to get shots of it. I probably will put this on my test bench and turn down the lights in the filming studio and get some kind of shots of this when I'm benchmarking and testing it for the benchmark video. I'm not going to have them for you right now. It is a standard 2-slot card, which is nice. It's certainly going to fit just about anywhere just fine. It's going to be tricky holding this up because of the liquid cooler. You can see all the, I'm not going to take off the protective covers here, but the display ports are on the bottom. The USB Type-C is right here. The HDMI ports, the NV-Link is protected by the orange. All that comes off that's not actually orange. Those are protective covers. And then here on the bottom, you can see the golden fingers are protective. In fact, I'll take it off. You can see these are just protective covers. There's no orange on this once you take all of those off. Sweet. Oh, and there's RGB lighting on the back. Liquid cooling specialists are cringing as I keep turning it around with the hoses. So we have what is clearly more RGB here on the back and a complete flat black plate covering everything. And yep, that is definitely metal. It looks very nice. There's two 8-pin PCI Express power connectors. They are recessed from the top of the card, so L-shaped connectors, curved, custom cables certainly won't impede. You can, especially if you're doing vertical mounting to show off a beauty build, that gives you options to make cabling that doesn't make your system ugly. That's very, very nice to see. It does go up above the standard connector here about 3/4 of an inch, give or take, but it is 2 slots thick. Is it? I think it's 2 slots. Yes, it is 2 slots thick. I'll turn that back around. Just for comparison, I'll take the Gigabyte card and stick it right here, and I'll take the ROG Strix card and stick it right there and put those in the frame. On their own, the ROG Strix and the Gigabyte are more massive, impressive, etc. They've got the fans, they've got the bulk, especially the ROG Strix has the thickness. But this sort of almost has that Corvette, sleek, sexy appeal. Instead of big, huge fans, it's just the nice lights and then the separate radiator. I'm excited. It's just a cooler and a graphics card, and it's going to play games probably about as well as the others. It may overclock a little bit higher. Is it going to make the huge difference that many people might wish it did? Probably not. It might add 5 frames per second at most with extreme overclocking. We will test this. I don't know, but it's cool looking, and that's probably why you should consider buying it. So this has been the supplemental RTX 2080 unboxing video with 2 amazing cards. Links down in the description below to my original unboxing video. There will be links added down below once I've got the benchmarks ready. They'll be posted early on Floatplane. That's linked down below as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I did buy these 2 cards. They were not sent to me by Gigabyte or ASUS. If you like my content, if you want to see me stay independent and objective, please consider using the Amazon, Newegg, eBay, etc. shopping links down in the video description below. Those support the channel at no extra cost to you and let me do stuff like this so I can keep bringing you cool, awesome videos. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember, subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button directly below. Questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, suggestions, ideas, that's what the comment section's for. Hit the bell notification icon next to the subscribe button if you'd like to actually be notified when new videos come out, because otherwise YouTube doesn't send out notifications anymore. Consider hitting the join button next to the bell icon. That allows you to become a Tech Deals member. Clicking the join button, in the United States it's $4.99 a month. It varies in price around the world. You will get a loyalty badge for the comment section and live streams on YouTube. You will get the custom Tech Deals emoji to use in the comment section and on live streams here on YouTube. And that money directly comes to the channel to support us, and you certainly will have my thanks. You can also support the channel on Patreon down below and also by joining Floatplane, link down below to get early access videos if you're interested. Social media links are down in the video description: Twitter, Twitch, Discord, etc. Discord is primarily, but not exclusively, intended for our supporters via Patreon, Floatplane, YouTube membership, etc. We have 12 hidden channels there for our direct supporters, but there's also notifications, go live announcements for live streams, new video announcements, and other things posted there as well. Thank you all so much for hanging out for this long unboxing of 2 video cards. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed making it. And I'm now off to go benchmark these cards. I will see you very soon.